Hi, it's 28 millimeter RPG, Rick here. So just kind of doing some stuff to make people see, let people see how I do maybe some prep and stuff. So a lot of times I'll go ahead and we'll have our session. Like I've got the session tonight. So in that case, they're going to this planet over here. If you can see my indicator, no, you can't. Okay, right there. They're going to Sa, which is going to be their next spot. But when you're looking at these cool places and using traveler map, I mean, you don't have to use traveler map. You can make up your own worlds and stuff like that. I'm just using traveler map because it's already made and saves me a ton of time, rolling up different worlds and stuff like that. I mean, you could even just make shit up and not worry about rolling up stuff if you really wanted to. But since this is here already, I went ahead and brought up Yarn. So every time you go ahead and click on one of these planets here, systems, you can bring up the vitals. So what it'll usually show you is a kind of a condensed version like this. So just giving you, the basics. The UWP here is the standard format, but I always like to bring down that drop down arrow to see exactly what that all actually means. So I'm not like guessing, I got a general idea of what each of the numbers means, but having it listed like this is awesome. The economics here, I dropped that down as well. And I also dropped down the culture. This is vital here. I believe this is like the stuff that Traveler 5 integrated into the system. But I find this stuff to be really, really helpful in figuring out what I want to do with that world. Now, we're going to take Yaren here, for example. This system here. It's this one here. Yaren. C-type starport. The blue indicates that there is water on the world, so that is a thing. So remember that when you're looking at Sa over here, that one does not have any water. It's a desert world. Same with Fal, desert world as well. But they do have gas giants, and so you can still refuel if you're grabbing non-refined fuel if your ship can handle it. But let's just look at Yarn here. So I click on that. I've got Yarn listed. Gives you a nice little representation of what kind of a world it looks like. It obviously looks like an Earth kind of world. Relatively slightly smaller than Earth, probably more like Venus, between Venus and Earth kind of size. Great atmosphere, but it's tainted, so there's poisons in the air. So you have to use a breather, but it is standard, so the pressure is decent for if you're used to Earth-like atmosphere. Hydrosphere 40, so there's 40% water on the surface, and at least stuff with hydrogen in it. Population is tens of thousands, so it's not very populous. It's probably some sort of smaller colony that's dying off or something like that. It's got an impersonal bureaucracy. Law level 7 is shotguns prohibited, and technology level is 8. So quality computers, 1990s, 2000s, somewhere around there. Unimportant, but what I key in on here is the heterogeneity, which this one's harmonious, meaning it's they're very they don't have any kind of wars going on their planet surface. So their acceptance is xenophobic. So which means they keep to themselves and they do not like people landing on their planet. So that's something. Strangeness, distinct. So it's kind of like in the center line, of whether or not it's strange, weird, or normal. So take that for what you can interpret from the rules. If you don't have the fifth edition of Traveler, I believe I do. It's in PDF form for me. I bought it from one of the like Humble Bundle or somewhere. I think it was probably Bundle of Holding or something like that. Um, so symbols here is somewhat abstract. So um, what you can use is these numbers as kind of targets to a lot of things. So if you're trying to avoid um, problems with the law, in this case, 7 would be a typical target number that you would be trying to equal or supersede in order to, get some sort of leeway with the law. If you're using like your negotiation or diplomacy or something like that. So something like that you can use. The higher, the harder, basically, it's going to be. So that's where you can kind of generally get an idea of what you want to do with these planets. Now, reading this off is one thing, but then you have to think about, well, what kind of interesting things can we introduce in the planet on in the system itself? I mean, there could be it's not counting for any kind of robots or synthetics as far as the population goes. So some of those higher um, technology level places might have, robot servants and stuff like that, or synthoids or something, Nexus type people, and skin jobs, that sort of stuff. So, you can put in what you want, but keep in mind the technology level too. You got to kind of relate it to that kind of aspect. Um, so you can come up with some pretty interesting ideas out of some of this stuff. Maybe since they're xenophobic, maybe they've had a war or something recently with one of these worlds in in the past or something. Maybe they had some issues with maybe Inshak or something, or maybe something about Fal. Fal might have done something to them, or something like that, or they may have been infiltrated by an alien like Fal or Sa or something in the vicinity that can reach them real quick and cause some sort of hassles with their government and stuff, or their people infiltrating that, and then they've decided that, hey, we got to clamp down on these aliens trying to influence our people and stuff. But it is, by what I can see here, this is would be kind of either a dying colony, because the population is basically tens of thousands. It's not that very many people, and you can run it how you want each one. They'll just give you a good kind of points to kind of look out for on the map here. And a lot of people don't realize that there's all this extra information here that you can take from this. It'll also generate the jump route around the area as a picture. You can also print all this information. You can also print the information of the entire uh, subsector or the actual sector that it's in. So it's entirely up to you. But I was just showing you basically what I kind of do whenever the party is going to be traveling to a new spot. I'll start looking up stuff on the planet and start coming up with some ideas, and you know put in interesting things. Maybe they have a drug industry going on, or maybe they're they're ran by robots, or maybe it could be all kinds of things that you can throw in there as a wrench, a twist. Um, Something going on. They're influenced by some other planet in the region. Uh, yeah, just let your imagination go wild with different things that you can put together. Um, but yeah, don't feel that that you're kind of stuck with what you have here. You can make your own things as well. You can make your own systems. You don't have to generate them. You can just write down, oh, I want a jungle planet, and we're gonna have like a couple of different countries on there, so it's kind of like a balkanized kind of thing, and they're fighting each other and blah blah blah. It's entirely up to you. You can make up your own shit. So and I recommend doing that as well. You don't always have to stick with this map. So I just thought I'd mention, kind of what I do. I'm pretty sure I may have mentioned it before, but since it was probably a year or so that I've mentioned that sort of thing, we'll mention it again anyway. So new people coming to the channel will kind of see how I come up with different ideas and stuff. A lot of times I will be watching a video. Usually I watch stuff which are the shortened kind of Cliff Notes versions of movies. So you see a lot of those channels out there where they'll kind of give you a brief rundown of a particular movie. If you're interested in it, you'll watch the whole thing. If not, it's enough Cliff Notes to give you an idea of the plot and everything, and you can kind of have a little information there that you can probably use for one of these systems, entirely, on your own. You never know. You could watch something like Mad Max or something like that, or a thing on Mad Max, and you go, oh, I want to, you'll use that in this. Um, or you see some other kind of sci-fi or a western or some sort of weird show about some other person's country, is always a different is a cool thing, kind of like that one with Sean Penn where he ends up being stuck in like Afghanistan or something like that, and what he has to go through in order to circumvent things and not get killed, kind of idea. So there's a lot of movies that are kind of intriguing like that you can borrow a lot of weird stuff from and just sci-fi it up a little bit and work with it there. So should be an interesting session tonight. We'll see what happens. I have no idea. Once again, I don't guide my players anywhere. I give them some sort of thing to go with if they want to. Um, but tonight, I guess from what I'm seeing, they're probably going to want to go ahead and take their pilot to SA, and since it's a high tech, as you can see, it's tech level E, which is 14, very high technology level. Very low population, basically a desert planet, small, a size of Mars, maybe, if that. Small population. I have some NPCs already kind of ready and ready to go. Some of it's related to our new player, to Shadow, and for his character is it's going to be some interesting intrigue. They could just possibly either stay here and do stuff, or they could just go here, drop things off, drop off their former pilot in order to get her possibly fixed up, and then continue on to Fell, which is their their final destination, or to pick up the power source that they are commissioned to go on. So with a big load of drugs on their ship, we'll see how this goes. As you can see, the tech level is high. Their law level is just as high. It's an 8, so it's somewhat challenging for a lot of aspects of wheeling and dealing with the people of Sa. It's a place of hundreds of thousands there, so it's a decent couple of cities there, maybe. B type starport. So this one would have probably a high port and a low port. So we'll see how it goes, but very high technology, so it wouldn't be something that they would want to mess around with their, get into a fight with or something. So it's some interesting things may happen. I don't know. We'll see how they react to the different stimuli I inject into the game. Obviously, they're going to probably run into patrol ships, uh, possibly a boarding part. I don't know. Depends on how they handle the negotiations on that and stuff. But it also includes a couple of NPCs which might help or hinder the situation. I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine, which is why I like playing this way, because I'm just as surprised as some of you guys at what happens. So I just kind of go along with the ride with my few notes, and from what occurs in this situation creates more notes, and we go on from there. Foul, once if they reach foul, that will be super interesting, because that is a totally different thing altogether compared to any of the rest of these worlds that they've ran into. It's going to be super interesting. So that'll be one upcoming episode, which should be turn things on its head. So we'll see what happens. But some interesting planets. There's, like I say, I like this. It's more frontier. There's a few regions which are like pocket empires, but the in-between areas here are just full of stories that can be told, and reoccurring themes following this crew. And like I say, I look at this game as the story of the spaceship. So it's the crew that mans it, the spaceship. This is basically the voyages of this starship, Nebuchadnezzar, as Spencer has named it. Rye, his character, and we'll see where that ship goes, whether or not it survives, another day, in the stars, or does it finally perish, or the crew, what happens, whatever happens to the crew, is entirely indifferent to me. They survive by their wits, by their negotiation, by, their ingenuity. And they don't have to take any of these things that I drop onto their laps, propositions by different leaders and stuff like that. They can totally do their own thing if they really wanted to. But since they're building a good foundation of background as they're going through all these adventures with their characters, eventually stuff will, like start catching up with them in certain aspects in the space around here. they'll start to re-encounter things and have some interesting interactions on what happened. Anyways, this is running about as long as I want it to. And just to put it out there, once again, you feel like subscribing, hit that subscribe button. You learn things, I learn things, we all learn things together. And subbing just helps me, helps me keep on going. And soon I'll have that little community button. I'll be able to drop down messages and stuff like that. And yeah, that's about it. That's all I look forwards to, is having a bigger, better channel. And it's free. It's all going to be free. I will never have monetization on this. Take care, you guys.